Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I bring you, what if Goku was in Mortal Kombat? Scorpion and the Elder Gods must team up with Goku to stop Onaga the Dragon King from altering or destroying all reality. Canon, DBZ, Otherworld Tournament MK, Deception Notes. Story was written many years ago, so some details may be inaccurate. Also, God Kai concept here is not accurately depicted due to this story existing long before Dragon Ball Super's debut. The story is called Dragon Ball Z and Mortal Kombat, The Rise of the Dragon King. The link of both the story and the author will be in the description down below. If you guys want more what-if videos such as these, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more.
Chapter 1, Finding the Hero. Throughout the realms, chaos has broken out. A great evil known as the Dragon King has collected the 6 legendary tools of the Elder Gods known as the Kamidogu, and his plans for total domination is at hand. The warriors of Earthrealm, Idnia and Outworld have challenged the Dragon King, but with the power of the Kamidogu none were successful in defeating the mighty beast. Scorpion, leader of the Shirai Ryu clan and champion of the Elder Gods, had met up with the mighty Thunder God Raiden in the Nexus for an important assignment by the Elder Gods. Raiden, Onaga has become all-powerful, and so far none of the Guardians of the Realms have been able to defeat him, stated Scorpion as he approached the Thunder God's presence. Raiden then turned to Scorpion and said, "There is only one left. A man by the name of Goku may be our only hope. He has beaten many evil beings bent on destroying all that exists in his homeland. He even sacrificed himself in an attempt to destroy an evil even greater than him. The man seems strange at times, but he may still be our only hope." "Tell me, Raiden, where is this Goku you speak of?" asked Scorpion, looking determined. "He lives in a parallel universe from ours in which the dead walk freely, much like the Netherrealm, so be careful," warned Raiden as he then turned his back to Scorpion in order to open a portal into Goku's world, but then he turned around and said, "The two of you are the last hope of the realms." Scorpion walked towards Raiden and said, "I will find Goku, and we will defeat the Dragon King." Raiden nodded and then handed Scorpion a bottle full of a blue glowing liquid, stating, "This might come in handy in case one of you gets hurt." Then he waved his hand and opened a portal that led to Goku's world. Finally, with that, Raiden said, "Go now, and may the Elder Gods watch over the both of you." Scorpion bowed to Raiden and dove through the portal, beginning his search for Goku. Meanwhile, in Otherworld, Goku had just finished competing in a race against the East Kai to enter in the Otherworld Tournament. Unfortunately, they both lost, but yet Goku was still able to participate in the tournament. As Goku looked onto West Kai and saw that his friend and rival, Piccin, was also going to participate in the tournament. In surprising joy, he asked, "Piccin's fighting in it too?" "Yeah. It's gonna be great. This tournament will be much more intense than anything you've experienced while alive. You must be very careful," snapped King Kai. "Sure," agreed Goku, still sounding excited. Suddenly he felt the air around them. He could feel a strange aura surrounding the area around him, and stranger still, it seemed to be directed towards everybody in the arena, including himself. Meanwhile, outside the arena, a portal opened up in front of the giant mansion in which the tournament was being held, and out emerged Scorpion, fully focused on his mission. Scorpion quickly dashed into the mansion, only to then himself in a giant astrological-like room with what appeared to be a giant rock formation with a battle nexus floating in the middle of the vast space. Scorpion, knowing this area Raiden had sent him to had to be Goku's universe, then brought his arm forward and from the middle of his palm shot out his signature spear, which latched itself onto a nearby asteroid. Then Scorpion swung from that asteroid and shot out another spear from his other hand that latched into a different nearby asteroid, and soon Scorpion was swinging from asteroid to asteroid, getting closer to the Nexus by the second. As he continued to swing from the asteroids, he heard a voice that yelled. Next up in the rear are Goku, the newest face from the North Quadrant, and Caterpie, a longtime favorite from the south side of space. "This should be interesting. I found you," Scorpion murmured to himself as he continued to swing from the asteroids. Back on the Nexus, Caterpie spread out all 10 of his arms in front of Goku as if he were about to grapple Goku. "Don't look into his eyes," bellowed King Kai from across the arena. Goku obeyed by not looking at the right moment and quickly retreated into the air. Then, somehow Caterpie extended his top set of arms, which then grabbed onto Goku's ankles and dragged him down into a powerful vice grip of Caterpie's other arms. "D darn it," grunted Goku as he struggled to escape the 10-armed adversary. As he looked down on the scion, Caterpie then cackled heavily and said, "You can't escape me now." "Goku!" yelled King Kai as he watched in nervousness. Caterpie cackled one more time, this time in a sinister tone, then to everyone's surprise proceeded to tickle Goku with 6 of his arms, sending Goku into a state of uncontrollable laughter. Meanwhile, Scorpion, who had finished swinging from the asteroids, had landed on the edge of the Nexus only to hear the voice that informed him of Goku's presence inform the audience Caterpie's giving Goku the tickle tour tube. Could it be any cheaper? Scorpion walked closer to the edge and looked down to find an enormous stadium, and at the center was a giant squared battlefield with 2 combatants. One of them was a man in orange clothing struggling and screaming with laughter underneath what appeared to be a giant, 10-armed, humanoid caterpillar trying to convince him to give up. Scorpion stared down at the laughing man in orange and thought, so he must be Goku. Strange, I expected better. Goku was indeed breaking from the tickle tour to being given by Caterpie, his head throbbing from side to side, tears jetting from his eyes and his body withering uncontrollable from the constant tickling of one area per arm of Caterpie. This is ridiculous, grumbled Scorpion. Suddenly, Scorpion then heard a faint groan coming from Goku. Scorpion then was temporarily blinded by a bright yellow flash of energy emitted by Goku. Then as he regained his sight, Scorpion then saw the body of the giant caterpillar being flung into the air by a beam of the same glowing colored energy and then come back down, hitting the ground with intense force. I stand corrected, Scorpion thought as he witnessed the power of Goku before him. Back on the battlefield, Caterpie was rising from the intense give-off of energy from Goku only to have his combatant comment, "Gee guy, you're not very strong." Enraged, Caterpie fighting an urge to cry grunted, "You meanie, picking on me like that. Why you're gonna be sorry." Caterpie then lunged towards Goku in a clumsy attempt to grapple him, however Goku quickly stepped out of the way as Caterpie clumsily tripped and fell to the ground holding his face while continuously fighting the sobbing urge grunted, "He hit me." Goku then asked, "But aren't you supposed to fight in a fight?" Scorpion, who was still watching from the edge of the stadium, put his hand to his head and groaned disdainfully, "Disgraceful wretch." Goku and Scorpion then stared and gasped at Caterpie, who was then turning completely white while the announcer yelled, "What a development! Caterpie's begun his metamorphosis." The crowd and the other combatants from the other quadrants soon began to murmur in disapproval or disappointment as Caterpie then encased himself in a giant ball of silk. "What's he doing?" asked West Kai. South Kai, the mentor of Caterpie, said proudly as he stared onto the battlefield, "He's become a pupa, in time he will change into his ultimate form." As Scorpion then stared down at South Kai, the announcer asked, "Pardon me South Kai, but may I just ask ya how much time this metamorphosis of his is gonna take?" South Kai then cleared his throat and said, "I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood about 1200 years. Scorpion lifted one of his eyebrows, then he crossed his arms, sighed and shook his head with even more disapproval at the answer as everyone else in the stadium stumbled as they always did in this universe from an answer like that. Goku then climbed on top of the cocoon of Caterpie and said, "I don't think I can wait that long to finish this." "Yeah, well neither can I," agreed the Grand Kaidat, so Goku wins this round by default. The audience soon yelled uproarious cheers as Goku stood there dumbstruck but victorious while saying to himself, "Guess they like me." Finally groaned Scorpion as he climbed down the edge leading into the stadium. Suddenly, Scorpion was violently thrown onto his back as the crowd was then blasted back by a green lightning bolt that struck the cocoon of Caterpie, sending Goku hurtling into a wall. As Goku got back up from the lightning, he soon saw the cocoon crackling with green energy and shaking violently. Seconds after the strange reaction occurred, the cocoon exploded to reveal a hideous, ugly reanimated zombie Caterpie. What? Goku gasped as he stared at the reformed Caterpie. South Kai asked the announcer, "Is this the ultimate form of Caterpie you were telling us about?" South Kai, who was also shocked at this, was lost in words until he responded no. Suddenly, the zombie Caterpie dashed towards Goku at a faster speed and reattached Goku to his 10-armed grasp again. Goku, believing that Caterpie was going to tickle him again, yelled in a frightened tone, "Let me go." Then as the zombie Caterpie spoke, his voice now sounded dead and evil as he then muttered, "Long live the Dragon King." Suddenly the zombie Caterpie took out a small dagger and cut open Goku's chest, sending Goku hollering in pain. The zombie Caterpie then took two of his hands, grabbed on each side of the giant wound in Goku's chest and held it open, sending Goku screaming into even more pain, while the zombie Caterpie then began to chant in an unknown language, which then drew green energy out of Goku's body and into his own. "Onaga," gasped Scorpion as he saw Goku screaming in pain from the zombie Caterpie. At that moment, Scorpion then began to wave his arms around in a summoning gesture, and then his entire arms suddenly were engulfed by flames. Then with his arms still on fire, Scorpion bolted down the stairs of the stadium and with his left hand unleashed a ray of fire which covered the north and east side edges of the battlefield, and with his right hand covered the west-sided edge of the battlefield. Then Scorpion did a double front flip, landed on the battlefield, and then finished covering the last, uncovered edge of the battlefield. Inside the flaming battlefield, the zombie Caterpie was looking around at the flames and soon noticed Scorpion staring at him and posed for battle. Soon the zombie Caterpie got to his feet and slowly walked towards him. Scorpion then lunged his left hand towards the zombie Caterpie, and out came the spear, which then drove itself into the chest of the behemoth. The zombie Caterpie reeled back from the spear that stuck him, but continued to walk towards Scorpion. Scorpion then with his right hand unleashed another spear which drove itself next to the left spear, which also made the zombie Caterpie reel back even more than the first one. Finally, Scorpion then unleashed two more spears with one from each hand, and then they both drove into the area above the two other spears, which then knocked the zombie Caterpie off his feet. Scorpion then yelled, "Get over here," retracting the spears back into his arms before the zombie Caterpie could then fall to the ground, pulling him towards him. Scorpion's boots were then covered in flames, and as the zombie Caterpie drew close enough, Scorpion then did a backflip and kicked the zombie Caterpie in the jaw with his boots still on fire. Scorpion then ran up the zombie Caterpie, drove the spears into all around the zombie Caterpie's body, jumped in the air and proceeded to trample the zombie Caterpie's face. After a double dropkick before releasing him, Scorpion then vanished into a fireball, reappeared in the air in which the zombie Caterpie was kicked into, and kicked him again, this time in the back of his head. Scorpion then once again vanished into a fireball like before, but landed on the ground this time, and just before the zombie Caterpie could finally fall to the ground. Scorpion then put his hands to the ground and then quickly kicked the zombie Caterpie in the gut, causing the colossal corpse to regurgitate hundreds of insects and bugs from his mouth. As the zombie Caterpie got back up from upchucking the rest of the bugs, he was soon thrown back by a kick right in the face by Scorpion. Then at the right moment, as the zombie Caterpie was facing his back towards Scorpion but was still stunned by the kick, Scorpion then shot out two spears with one from each hand, which then dove into the back of Caterpie, with one in the middle of the back and the other in the back of the head, which then pulled the zombie Caterpie towards Scorpion, who at the right moment jumped in the air and did a dropkick right in the back of the behemoth, causing his both to violently bend in the way of how Scorpion kicked him. As the zombie Caterpie fell to the ground from the dropkick by Scorpion, the zombie Caterpie then emitted a scream of pain much similar to Goku's scream of pain when his chest was cut open. Then as the zombie Caterpie got back up from the kick, Scorpion then grabbed him by the neck with both of his hands, and Scorpion, who then showed the zombie Caterpie the energy given to him by the Elder Gods, hoisted him up into the air by his neck and slammed him back down to the ground as he sat down while continuing to clutch his neck. Scorpion then pulled the zombie Caterpie towards him by the neck and drop-kicked him in the face, causing the behemoth to roll back even further. Scorpion then let out a strained yell that went, "You're finished," as the zombie Caterpie wearily got up from the dropkick. Scorpion then threw his arms up in the air as if he were summoning something, and suddenly the zombie Caterpie's body was engulfed in flames. The zombie Caterpie ran around in a desperate attempt to put out the flames, but nevertheless the flames continued to burn his entire body. Finally, Scorpion crossed his arms up into air and quickly threw them to the sides, causing the flames all over the zombie Caterpies to disappear and to reveal that the zombie Caterpie's body was completely burnt black with bugs oozing from his mouth. Scorpion finally yelled in a finishing manner, ran forward and drop-kicked the zombie Caterpie in the stomach, causing the burned behemoth to explode in an ash-scattering explosion. Scorpion looked all around the area to see bits and pieces of flesh and ash falling from the explosion and said to himself, "Fatality." Suddenly, Scorpion felt something grab at his leg, so he quickly turned around to find Goku, who was still groaning in pain from the deep gash in his chest, trying to get on his feet but needing some leverage to help himself up. As Goku got back onto his feet, he soon saw Scorpion right in front of him staring at him. "Who are you?" grunted Goku as he continued to hold his chest. Scorpion, without answering, wrapped one arm around Goku's chest and the other around Goku's back arm and locked them together as they then began to fall back into what appeared to be a flaming portal linked to the ground. Soon, both men were swallowed by the flaming portal, and the fire that surrounded the battlefield during Scorpion's fight vanished into thin air, leaving the entire audience stunned in awe. Chapter 2, Journey Through the Netherrealm. Scorpion and Goku continued to fall through the fiery portal until both men hit the cold hard ground in an environment that resembled the innards of a volcano. Scorpion leapt back to his feet and soon saw Goku, who was still holding his chest from the giant gash while continuing to groan in pain. Scorpion then pulled out the bottle with the blue glowing liquid, looked at the giant gash on Goku's chest and mumbled deep. Suddenly, Scorpion kicked Goku to the ground, held his foot at his neck and poured the blue liquid all over the giant gash on Goku's chest. After a while, Goku soon was back on his feet but could still feel a slight burn on his chest from the giant gash. Noticing Scorpion again, he then asked, "It's you. Who are you and why'd you bring me here?" "My name is Scorpion and I have come to seek help from you." "Seek help? What do you mean?" asked Goku, sounding confused. "I mean," Scorpion growled, "my universe is in danger and I need you help." "In danger? What's happening?" asked Goku, sounding shocked and determined. Scorpion then tossed a small fireball into the air, which then constantly flashed images on what Scorpion would speak about as he spoke many months ago. Two evil sorcerers known as Shang Tsung and Quan Chi have discovered an army of unstoppable force that belonged to a monster known as Onaga, the Dragon King. Together with the power of the Dragon King's undefeatable army, a band of their own warriors and an amulet that could control the entire army, they soon formed a group known as the Deadly Alliance. Warriors of each realm have attempted to stop the Deadly Alliance, but none of them were successful. As was I. With no one else left to stop the Deadly Alliance, Raiden, an elder god, had challenged the Deadly Alliance, and even he had failed to stop them, but in the end it was the sorcerer's hunger for the possession of the amulet that controlled the army, which led to the destruction of the Deadly Alliance. As I watched on with the elder gods, I soon saw Onaga himself charging towards Raiden and the two sorcerers, with none of them able to even phase the might of the Dragon King. Even the act of sacrifice by Raiden was not even enough to destroy him. Soon the elder gods had transformed me into a weapon of their own, enhancing my every ability. Then I realized that it was my duty to stop the Dragon King before he had become all-powerful. Now Onaga has control over the 6 legendary weapons of the elder gods known as the Kamidogu, and if he merges them into a single tool of supreme power, he could very well take power over any realm he pleases. That's why the elder gods had sent me to find you. Only you and I have the ability to stop the Dragon King and save the realms. So all we have to do is stop this Onaga guy before he merges these 6 tools together so we can save other realms," asked Goku after the fireball soon disappeared. Scorpion then turned to Goku and murmured yes. Goku then looked all around himself and asked, "How do we get out of here?" "Through a portal leading into the Nexus," said Scorpion. "We must hurry. The more time we waste, the more powerful Onaga will become." Goku then said confidentially, "Well, if you gotta go, you gotta go. And if you gotta go, you better go it in style. Grab my shoulder." As Scorpion then put his hand on his right shoulder, Goku then put 2 of his fingers to his forehead to use his instant transmission ability. However, Goku soon realized that no matter how hard he tried, he could not even find any source of ki energy around him. "Well?" asked Scorpion, expecting something to happen. "I'm sorry, but I can't find any trace of energy here," complained Goku. "Come to think of it, I can't feel any of my own energy as well." Goku, trying to realize what was wrong with him, saw a stream of lava and out of complete uselessness of his knowledge jumped towards the stream of lava. "What are you doing?" yelled Scorpion. Goku then realized that he had none of his powers with him and that he had probably done the most stupidest thing in his existence, because he was in the air right above a river of bubbling, burning magma. "Fool," growled Scorpion as he quickly shot out one of his spears, which coiled around Goku and at the right minute and quickly pulled him towards the ground. Scorpion then looked at Goku, who gave an embarrassed chuckle and said, "Oops." Scorpion then groaned in an impatient way and explained to Goku, "Listen to me, this area is known as the Netherrealm. Unless if your soul had been tainted with evil, then all of your other abilities are drained until you leave." "What?" gasped Goku in an exaggerated voice. "Come on," groaned Scorpion, "the longer we waste here, the more powerful Onaga will get. If you and I leave, then you will get your powers back." "Oh, right," replied Goku, still sounding shocked at the fact that he must fight under his normal state without any of his powers, and continued to follow Scorpion through the desolate land of the Netherrealm. As Goku followed Scorpion to the portal exiting the Nether Realm, he then asked, "Hey guy." "My name is Scorpion," replied Scorpion as he continued to walk. "Sorry," apologized Goku. "Hey Scorpion, when you said none of them were successful." "As was I, what did you mean?" Scorpion stopped for 1 minute, then he turned around towards Goku and said, "One of the sorcerers, Quan Chi, tricked me into working for him after he convinced me that my archenemy Sub-Zero killed my family. For many years I have fought Sub-Zero for countless times, and after our last fight he spoke the truth to me and I vowed for revenge against Quan Chi before I could get him. However, I was ambushed by 2 Oni demons known as Scorpion, then stopped for 1 minute, pushed Goku aside and yelled, 'You!' As Goku looked onto what Scorpion was yelling at, he soon saw 2 unusual creatures. One of them resembled a rotted-out tissued zombie who wore a mask with blue and green markings all over it and a spiked flail as his right hand, while the other was a giant, blue hunched-forward beast with 3 eyes and with its left arm wrapped in chains, and at the end was a giant iron orb in its claw. These were the 2 Oni known as Draman and Moloch. As the 2 Oni were hunting for prey, they soon saw the golden ninja posed and ready for combat. "Why look, Draman," teased Moloch as they stared at their angered combatant. "Isn't that the fool ninja we outwitted at the Sorcerer's Palace?" "Why yes, it is Moloch." Draman joined in. And then he saw Goku and teased, "Why look. It seems we'll be having a second helping after all." Goku's lit up immediately and asked enthusiastically, "You've got food?" "What is it?" "It's us, you fool," growled Scorpion as he continued to look onto his assassins. Goku looked at Scorpion for a second, turned back to Moloch and Draman and asked, "You two eat people?" "Why not?" replied Moloch. "What else is there to eat than live flesh? Now we can have both you and that ninja as a feast." Draman agreed with Moloch. "Not if I can do anything about," Goku said, and then posed next to Scorpion. Moloch and Draman looked at each other, cackled maniacally and asked Goku, "You? With that ridiculous attire? The only thing you'll be good at is being a delectable meal for us." Scorpion, who heard enough conversation between Goku and the 2 Oni, yelled, "How about you eat this?" Suddenly Scorpion ran towards Draman, ran up his right knee and kicked him across the face. "You!" growled Moloch as he began to charge towards Scorpion with immense force. Suddenly Goku ran forward and jump-kicked the giant ogre-like beast in the face. Moloch then held his chin from Goku's kick and commented, "Not bad." Then he swung around and clubbed Goku in the face with his giant iron orb and then commented, But not good enough." Draman then ran towards Scorpion and jabbed him in the stomach while he was occupied watching Goku's fight. As the ninja specter held his stomach like Moloch had to Goku, Draman then clubbed Scorpion in the face with his flail of a hand. As Goku was down from Moloch's attack, the giant ogre-like Oni then grabbed Goku by both of his legs and while continuing to grapple his legs slammed him down the first time next to him, twirled around once and slammed him again, this time right in front of him, then he slammed his body into a rock-like pillar and finished it off by tossing Goku into the air and clubbing the Scion in the face. As Scorpion and Draman stared at each other, Draman then lifted his flail hand in the air and made an unusual groaning noise, and out of nowhere more than hundreds of flies and other buzzing insects descended from the red sky and started to swarm all around Scorpion. Scorpion, frustrated at the constant buzzing around in his face, endlessly waved his arms around in the air trying to shoo the flies away. Suddenly, the flies ascended into the air and out of sight as out of nowhere Draman pounced onto Scorpion, wrapping his legs around his arms and body, and with his flail hand began to bash Scorpion's face with the flail. Moloch, who was still fighting Goku, then roared to Draman in some unknown monster tongue language. Draman then nodded and after one final club from his flail hand took Scorpion by the neck and tossed him into the air. Moloch then took Goku by the legs once again and using him like a baseball bat knocked Scorpion out of the air, and then he threw Goku into another rock pillar. As Moloch walked towards the crumbled pile of rubble, he was then hit right in the middle of his third eye by what appeared to be a dusty, dirty red pole, thus causing him to holler in pain as he held his bloody third eye. Suddenly, Goku leapt out from the pile of rubble holding his power pult and challenged Moloch to another battle. Moloch roared in irritation and charged towards Goku. Goku then leapt into the air just as Moloch was about to tackle him and then swept Moloch from under his legs with the power pult. As Scorpion got back to his feet in his battle against Draman, he then saw the flesh-like Oni hold his flail arm in the air and was just about to call out another buzzing group of insects when Scorpion then vanished into fire, reappeared behind Draman and kicked him in the back of the head.
Goku, as he battled Moloch, he continued to attack the ogre like Oni in the same place, the head.
During the battle, Goku then struck Moloch so many times in the head, Moloch soon began to make punch-drunk faces for each blow with Goku's fist or the power pult. Draman soon saw Moloch continuing to take punishment from Goku, so he quickly swung at Scorpion's face with the flail and immediately ran towards Goku in an attempt to attack him. Scorpion, however, had a different point of view as he quickly sprung back to his feet and threw the spear towards Draman, which quickly sunk into the Oni's back, causing him to scream and struggle in pain. Scorpion then grabbed the spear with both hands and yelled, "Get over here," as he violently pulled back at the spear, which pulled Draman towards the Ninja Spectre. Goku, after at least 100 different strikes from both his hands and the power pult, finally ended his combination by violently kicking Moloch across the face with his boot, causing the colossal beast to wander around dizzily. Scorpion then turned Draman around, grabbed both of his hands, and then with his boots on fire did a somersault backflip kick and kicked Draman's head off his shoulders. Goku then looked at Scorpion and the headless body of Draman, then he turned his attention back towards the punch-drunk Moloch, who was near the ledge of a stream of lava. Goku then gave one last yell, ran towards Moloch and kicked the massive Oni square in the chest, causing the colossal beast to fall back into the lava. Goku then fell onto his back, tired from the battle against Moloch, while Scorpion took the body of the headless body Draman and threw it into the stream of lava. Scorpion then looked at his tired partner and asked, "Are you okay?" Goku looked up at Scorpion and panted, "It's hard to fight someone like this." Scorpion shook his head in disappointment. Suddenly he stopped and looked around. "What's up?" asked Goku with exhaustion. "The portal's energy, I can feel it," gasped Scorpion. "Get up, we're almost near our destination." Goku, however, refused at first and whined, "Come on, wait. I have to catch my strength." Scorpion then turned around and grabbed Goku by his hair while growling, "I said get up." "Ow. Ow. Okay, I'll get up. I'll get up, sheesh," yelled Goku as he tried to free himself from Scorpion's grasp. As Goku got back up from Scorpion grabbing at his hair, he soon noticed a giant wall with what appeared to be an ancient ruined city on the inside, as he saw spike-like poles sticking out on the inside. "There's a city here too?" asked Goku. "That's where the portal is," responded Scorpion. As Scorpion and Goku were just about to enter through the gates leading into the ancient ruined area, the two of them noticed groups of black ninjas and skeletons in ancient samurai outfits staring at them and whispering with looks of discontent. Scorpion," asked Goku, "I don't think we belong here." Scorpion looked at the ninjas and said, "Just ignore them." Soon Scorpion then saw what appeared to be a giant, circular ring standing on its rim. "That's our exit," informed Scorpion. As Scorpion and Goku walked up an arch that led to a big platform with the giant ring, Goku then asked Scorpion, "You ready?" "Always," responded Scorpion. "Now stand back." Scorpion then held his arms out on each side, and then fiery energy began to gather all around his body. Soon after, his entire body was consumed by the flames. Scorpion then held his left arm out, quickly pulled it back, threw his right arm forward, and out of his palm came a trail of fire at the foot of the giant ring, and after a short while the middle of the ring was glowing with red energy. "This is a portal to the Nexus." Scorpion yelled to Goku, "Once we pass through here, we'll enter the land of the Elder Gods. We must hurry though. Normal energy can't keep the gateway open for long. I'll meet ya in there." Goku yelled and dove into the red energy, while Scorpion, who was still using his fire to keep the gateway into the Nexus, quickly threw his arms to his sides and dove into the gateway before the energy disappeared. Back in Otherworld, the entire stadium was buzzing with angry protests on the green lightning bolt, the battlefield suddenly being surrounded by flames, Goku and Caterpie's sudden disappearance, and the mysterious black debris that was scattered across the battlefield. Because of these unusual events, the Grand Kai then announced that the tournament was to be halted until either combatant had returned. "This is an outrage," bellowed East Kai in outrage. "I say we just write those two losers out of the tournament," suggested West Kai. "Oh, so you can have your guy pick and win the tournament?" snapped King Kai. "No, King Kai, only so your quadrant has a better chance at losing," responded West Kai. East Kai then walked up to Grand Kai and yelled, "Why must we halt the tournament just because two participants have just disappeared?" West Kai then got next to East Kai and protested, "Write them out already. I want my pickin' to get this over with." Finally they both yelled in unison, "Just continue the tournament." King Kai then stood in between both West and East Kai, pushed each other apart and said, "It's official, Grand Kai made this decision and it will stay like this. Besides, I don't want Goku to lose the tournament either. While East and West Kai started to pound on King Kai for kissing up to Grand Kai, South Kai ran all around the messy battlefield looking at all the debris while uselessly calling out to for Caterpie. Suddenly a crack of lightning was heard from above the stadium. The angered audience, the other combatants and all 5 Kais then looked up and saw a series of green lightning bolts striking at what appeared to be a giant black cloud that was forming above the stadium. Finally, the black cloud covered the entire stadium, and on the inside of the shaded arena a giant image of a dragon's head wearing an unusual helmet appeared and stared down at everyone, and around it descended 6 glowing items that circled around the head. Picken then got up and yelled at the head, "Who are you and what do you want?" The head looked down on Picken with its giant gleaming yellow eyes. Picken then nervously stepped back from the glare of the head, knowing that he said the wrong thing. The head then thundered, "Each and every mortal souls must be vanquished. Soldiers, attack!" Then as the dragon head sunk into the black clouds, the 6 glowing items then began to glow and circle at a fast velocity around a big, black hole that opened up in the center of the clouds, thus causing them to resemble that of a hurricane pattern. Suddenly out of the swirling black hole rained thousands and thousands of skeleton samurai-like soldiers. Soon as the thousands of skeleton soldiers landed to the ground, all of them soon split up in every direction, going after any soul they could find and attacking them with either giant axes or razor-pointed staffs. Soon all the other combatants of the tournament from East and South Quadrant, including Picken, dashed towards the skeleton soldiers, causing a brutal war to erupt, transforming the tournament from an entertaining event to brutal battle, leaving souls in the balance. Chapter 3, The Dragon King appears. Meanwhile, both Goku and Scorpion had finally reached the Nexus from their journey through the Netherrealm. As the 2 warriors got back up from escaping the hellacious area, Goku soon felt a rush of yellow glowing energy that coursed all around his body. "Hey," said Goku as he then felt the jolts of energy, I think my powers are back." "Good," said Scorpion, "you'll need them." Scorpion then walked out into the center of the Nexus and called, "Raiden, I have brought Goku with me." Scorpion didn't hear a thing. "Raiden," he called out again. Goku joined Scorpion and called out, "Raiden?" Scorpion joined again and called out, "Raiden." "Raiden? Where are you, Raiden? You who? Hello? Raiden? Is anybody here?" Goku and Scorpion continued to call out to the Thunder God until finally Goku then noticed an arm sticking out from behind a glowing portal similar to that from the portal in which they escaped the Netherrealm from, except purple. Goku then tugged onto Scorpion's arm and said, "Hey Scorpion, look at that." Then as Scorpion turned to look, the arm began to move, and out from behind the portal crawled a man with white clothes, a cape, a Chinese hat and white hair, looking battered and bruised. "Raiden," gasped Scorpion as he and Goku ran over to check on the Thunder God's condition. "Raiden, what happened here?" asked Scorpion. Raiden, with as much strength left in him, looked at both Goku and Scorpion and yelled, "Get out of here. Now." "What?" asked Goku. "Now," yelled Raiden. Suddenly, a loud bellowing roar was heard from behind Goku and Scorpion. The 2 warriors then turned around in frozen fear. A big, dark, luminous figure of a human-like dragon slowly descended from the sky and landed on a pillar on the opposite side of Goku and Scorpion. As both men posed for combat, the figure then spread out its enormous wings, jumped into the air and descended slowly onto the ground. Then the figure slowly walked towards Goku and Scorpion to reveal the dragon-like body with dark green skin, spiked shoulder pads, a blue pearl in its chest, yellow lizard eyes, wearing a spiked unorthodox helmet and a necklace with a bronze amulet with a tiny green pearl in the center around its neck. It was Onaga, the Dragon King. "So you're Onaga," said Goku. "You're the one who harmed all those people." The Dragon King then surveyed both Goku and Scorpion and commented, "I suppose you two are the last hope for existence? What a joke." Scorpion then yelled angrily, "Where's the Kamidogu?" Onaga then held his arms up in the air and down descended the 6 Kamidogu, each glowing their own color, and asked, "Do you mean these?" Goku then stepped forward and said, "Onaga, I'll give you the choice of deciding your fate." Onaga then stared at Goku and asked, "Go on?" "The choice is either give up and never harm another soul, or be destroyed like all the other people you've killed." Scorpion then joined in and said, "Either way you will be stopped, Onaga." Onaga then shook his head, chuckled and replied, "Then try and stop me." The Dragon King then spread out his enormous wings, dashed towards Goku and slugged him in the cheek.
Then Onaga quickly turned around and kicked Scorpion in the face.
As Scorpion was recoiling from the kick, Onaga then grabbed his leg and slammed him to the ground continuous times until he hurled the Ninja Spectre into the sky.
Onaga,
believing that he was through with Scorpion, then dashed towards Goku and grabbed him by the arms with his own claws. Then he flew up into the air while holding Goku's arms, tossed him into the air, and with his wings flapping at a fast pace did a backflip kick just like Scorpion had, except more awkward looking, then finishing off with 2 hard punches to the ribs, 2 punches to the head and a double claw sledgehammer to Goku's head, sending the Scion crashing to the ground. Suddenly, Onaga heard a swooshing noise behind him, then out of instinct grabbed the spear of Scorpion that was dashing towards him, causing the zipline effect to occur, drawing Scorpion face first into the clenched fist of Onaga. Goku then jumped into the air and quickly caught Scorpion before the Ninja Spectre could plunge off the edge of the floating nexus, but as Goku was preoccupied with Scorpion, Onaga then dashed towards the Scion and blasted Goku in the face with a fireball emitted from his mouth. Onaga roared in victory, then he turned around, flew up into the air and came back down spinning head first, driving the Ninja Spectre into the hard ground.
Goku, recovering from the fireball by Onaga, got up and dashed towards the Dragon King.
However, as Onaga got up from driving Scorpion into the ground, he then caught sight of Goku charging at him, so as the Scion punched Onaga in the face, the Dragon King absorbing the blow wheeled around and knocked Goku into a pillar with a punch of his own. As Onaga then turned his attention back to Scorpion, he was soon punctured in the chest by 2 spears from Scorpion's arms and a bombardment of kicks by the Ninja Spectre. However, the Dragon King then ripped the spears out of his chest, pulling Scorpion towards him, and with his helmet intact head butted him in the stomach, leaving Scorpion yelling in pain.
Onaga was then kicked in the back of the neck by Goku, who wisely used instant transmission before floating out into the vast space of the Nexus. Onaga then put 1 claw onto his neck and winced a little, leaving Goku to grunt, "Not all powerful, are you?" "No," responded Onaga, "I'm even better."
Then Onaga unleashed a stream of fire from his mouth, impacting Goku in the chest, knocking the Scion into yet another pillar. Scorpion, reviving from the headbutt, shot out one of his spears, which wrapped around Goku and brought him back down to the Nexus before once again floating out into the vast space. As both warriors got up from their previous attacks from Onaga, they then turned their attention to the Dragon King, who said, "Why don't you two just give up?
You're no match for me." Goku, getting tired from being beaten by the Dragon King, then said, "You fight well, Onaga, but we'll see how that goes during round 2. "What?" asked Scorpion as he turned to Goku. Suddenly, Goku began to yell out into the open air, causing unusual winds to blow everywhere, until suddenly his body and his hair was glowing with a yellow aura and his eyes were completely blue. Scorpion, breathless with words, asked, "What's happened to you?" Onaga, unaware of this transformation, also asked, "What's this?" Goku, responding to these questions, answered, "Onaga, let's see how you fare against a Super Saiyan." "Super? What?" yelled Onaga. Scorpion, then realizing his new powers presented to him by the Elder Gods, then put his fist to his chest, and soon his body began to glow with fire before quickly throwing his arms down to his sides, thus dousing the mystic flames and informing Onaga, "Now you must face the true power of a warrior, Onaga." "What's going on here?" growled the angrily confused Dragon King as he stared at both the SSJ Goku and Scorpion. Suddenly, SSJ Goku flew towards Onaga and began to punch all over the Dragon King's body, causing Onaga to this time be thrown around by the punches. Then Goku blasted the Dragon King in the face with a ki blast from his hand, grabbed Onaga by his right leg and swung him into a different pillar. Onaga, peeved at SSJ Goku actually hurting him, flew up into the air after he crashed into the pillar and flew towards the Super Saiyan. However, his chest was then punctured by the spear of Scorpion and crashed to the ground after a zipline kick to the face. The Dragon King, just as he was about to shoot a fireball from his mouth, he then swallowed the fireball and spewed a thick black smoke from his mouth all around himself, creating a smokescreen. SSJ Goku then foolishly ran towards the smokescreen and yelled, "Come out and fight, Onaga." The Dragon King then chuckled and responded, "If you insist." Then out of the smokescreen, Onaga dashed towards SSJ Goku and knocked the Super Saiyan off his feet with a clothesline from his giant arm. Then he dashed towards Scorpion and blasted the Ninja Spectre in the chest with an actual fireball. Onaga then grabbed Scorpion by the throat with his massive claws and attempted to choke the life out of the Ninja Spectre. Then he heard SSJ Goku dashing towards him, so he then turned around and threw Scorpion at SSJ Goku, knocking the Super Saiyan out of the air and Scorpion tumbling into a pillar.
Then as Onaga began to charge towards him, SSJ Goku then disappeared using his super speed while Scorpion vanished into thin air. Onaga then, confused at SSJ Goku's disappearance, stomped towards the center of the Nexus and bellowed, "Show yourself." SSJ Goku, mocking the Dragon King, then responded, "If you insist." Suddenly SSJ Goku appeared right next to Onaga in the air while Scorpion appeared on the left side of Onaga, and both utilizing their abilities, SSJ Goku kicked Onaga in the face while Scorpion swept the Dragon King from beneath his legs with a roundhouse kick, toppling the Titan. As Onaga was struggling to his feet, Scorpion then formed a fireball in each of his hands and drove them into the ground, and with his hands in the ground while continuing to hold the fireballs, then unleashed 2 rays of fire which created a heat-seeking path in the ground. Suddenly, Onaga, back on his feet, found the subterranean rays of fire. Wisely, the Dragon King then flapped his wings up into the air and then stomped back down while putting his fist down with his feet, thus causing the traveling rays of fire to shoot up and explode into the air from their position. Onaga then dashed towards Scorpion in another attempt to headbutt the Ninja Spectre in the stomach, but in order to protect his ally, SSJ Goku flew in front of Scorpion, crossed his arms across his chest in the shape of an X, and guarded Onaga's headbutt. Onaga noticed SSJ Goku struggling not to break the guard, so he then turned his head to the left. Soon his body followed, and then he kicked the Super Saiyan across the face with a heel kick, knocking him out of the way long enough for the Dragon King to kick Scorpion up into the air and onto his stomach with his awkward-looking back flip kick. Onaga then turned his attention back to SSJ Goku. The Dragon King then dashed forward, grabbed the Super Saiyan by the waist, flew up into the air and came back down, spinning head first, driving SSJ Goku into the ground same way as he had done to Scorpion before. Then as Onaga got back to his feet after he slammed Goku to the ground, he then felt a sharp, piercing pain in his back, followed by a series of thumping blows to the back of his head, rendering Onaga paralyzed due to the piercing pain in his back. Then the thumping soon stopped, but then Scorpion appeared in front of Onaga and kicked the Dragon King in the face. Onaga then grabbed Scorpion by the head, flew up into the air, and while twirling the Ninja Spectre around, slammed him back to the ground. With Scorpion down, Onaga then dashed towards SSJ Goku, who was back on his feet but still awkwardly standing, and rammed the Super Saiyan in the stomach, also sending SSJ Goku screaming in pain. Onaga then reached out, grabbed SSJ Goku around the neck with his giant claws, and with his incredible strength hurled SSJ Goku over the edge of the floating Nexus and out into the vast space beyond the area. However, Scorpion, reviving from Onaga's attack, lashed out the spear which coiled around SSJ Goku's body and brought him back down to the ground. As Scorpion pulled SSJ Goku back to the ground, Onaga then dashed forward and rammed into both the Ninja Spectre and the Super Saiyan with extreme might, sending both warriors hurtling out into the vast space of the Nexus. "Now what?" yelled Scorpion to SSJ Goku as they continued to fly out into space from Onaga's attack. "Hang on to me," yelled SSJ Goku. As Scorpion grabbed around his waist, SSJ Goku then put 2 of his fingers to his forehead and started to concentrate. "Didn't you try that already?" roared Scorpion. "If I can go Super Saiyan here, then I should be able to use instant transmission," responded SSJ Goku. "Then what's going on?" "I can't." "Why?" "We're moving too fast, I can't concentrate out here." "Then get ready." Scorpion then flipped SSJ Goku around and grabbed around his waist with only his left hand and shot out a spear from his right hand out towards the direction they were floating away from. Then after a few minutes it hit something solid, causing the spear to snag in both SSJ Goku and Scorpion to jerk forward and continue to push towards the opposite direction of where the spear snagged. Scorpion then tried to initiate the zipline effect from his spear, but because of the impact from Onaga's giant headbutt was so powerful and with no gravity throughout the area, the force of the headbutt was too powerful for the zipline to go into effect. "Goku," yelled Scorpion as he continued to hold onto SSJ Goku, "I can't hold on much longer. You must use that technique." "Right," yelled SSJ Goku as he put his fingers back to his forehead in another attempt at using instant transmission. Finally he could sense the key energy of Onaga, and with that used the instant transmission to teleport both Scorpion and himself back to the Nexus. As soon as SSJ Goku and Scorpion transported back to the Nexus, they soon saw Onaga with the 6 Kamidogu spinning him while glowing simultaneously. "No," gasped Scorpion, "he's merging with the Kamidogu, we must stop him." Scorpion then held his arms out while forming a fireball in each hand, and after waving his arms around in his traditional way released a ray of fire from both of his hands joined together. Onaga reeled his chest back from the impact of the ray of fire by Scorpion, but still continued to merge the Kamidogu into one.
SSJ Goku realizing that Scorpion needed help. So he then held his hands out in front of himself briefly, brought them back behind himself and chanted the words Ka. Me. Ha. Me.Haa. Along with Scorpion's ray of fire, SSJ Goku then unleashed the Kamehameha wave from his hands, which impacted next to Scorpion's ray of fire into Onaga's chest, causing the Dragon King to reel on step back from the blast. SSJ Goku then turned his head towards Scorpion while continuing his Kamehameha wave and bellowed, "He's too powerful. We can't stop him. Just keep firing." Scorpion bellowed back. "Allow me," said a voice behind SSJ Goku and Scorpion. SSJ Goku and Scorpion then halted their attack on Onaga to find Raiden healed up from Onaga's earlier attack on him. Witnessing Onaga merging was nearly complete. Together, SSJ Goku and Scorpion continued their attack while Raiden unleashed a series of lightning bolts from his hands while also collided into Onaga's chest while he continued to merge with the Kamidogu. Onaga fought with extreme might not to break the connection between the Kamidogu and himself from merging. However, even with his incredible hide which protected him from Raiden, Shang Tsung, and Quan Chi attack, with the combined strength of the Thunder God, a warrior fused with the powers of the other Elder Gods and a pure Super Saiyan proved too much for the Dragon King. Raiden then looked to both sides at SSJ Goku and Scorpion and said, "On the count of 3, put everything you have into it." The three warriors then ceased their attacks momentarily as Raiden then counted 1, 2, 3. Scorpion then shot out a ray of fire like before, but the tip was thick and beefy. Raiden shot a giant thunderbolt from his right hand while SSJ Goku then pushed a Kamehameha wave like before, only slightly bigger. Finally, Onaga was knocked off his feet from the blast of energy by SSJ Goku, Scorpion, and Raiden and was sent hurtling out into the vast space of the Nexus while bellowing in the distance. Exhausted from the long battle against the Dragon King and the massive amount of energy released from the last attack, SSJ Goku fell chest first to the ground, returning to his normal state panting. Scorpion fell out to his back panting also, and Raiden put his arm down while panting also, but not as hard as Goku and Scorpion. Goku then rolled onto his back and panted, "SC Scorpion. We did it." Scorpion then looked up at Raiden and murmured, "Thanks. Raiden." Goku then sat up and noticed the Kamidogu, which slowly stopped glowing, and said, "Hey. Well, what about those?" Raiden then looked at the Kamidogu, which stopped glowing and resumed their original color, and said, "Just leave them alone, I'll take care of them." Goku suddenly heard a loud scream that sounded like King Kai ringing through his ears, then a voice that also sounded like King Kai yelled out, "Goku! Where are you?" Goku then steadily got back to his feet and asked out loud, "King Kai?" "Goku," said the voice of King Kai, "we need your help." "Where are you?" Goku then yelled out loud. "I'm talking to you telepathically," yelled the voice Goku. "There are thousands of skeleton soldiers in Otherworld destroying everything. The other warriors can't take them all. We need Wyo." Suddenly, the voice was abruptly cut off in the middle of that sentence, and soon all Goku could hear before King Kai's voice disappeared was a slight growl. "King Kai?" Goku asked out loud. "What's going on?" asked Scorpion as he got back up. Goku called for King Kai again, and when he didn't answer a second time, he turned to Scorpion and said, "Scorpion, I have to go back, my world's in danger." "I'll take care of that," Raiden said to Goku. The Thunder God then stood in between Goku and Scorpion and told both of them to stand back. Then with a mere swipe of his hand opened a swirling white portal with an image of the Otherworld Tournament battle Nexus being invaded by a series of skeleton soldiers which were destroying everything. "Somehow, Onaga has brought his undefeatable army into your world as his first act of domination," Raiden said to Goku as he too stared into the image. Goku continued to look at all the skeleton soldiers, then he turned towards Raiden and Scorpion and said, "I have to do this alone, this is my world." "Good luck," Scorpion said as he bowed honorably to Goku. "Thanks guys," said Goku as he dove through the portal heading back into his dimension. Scorpion and Raiden then turned and looked towards the Kamidogu. Then they looked back at each other and nodded. Suddenly a familiar roar was heard throughout the entire Nexus. Scorpion turned around quickly only to be pounded in the stomach and knocked so far out back that he was once again hurtling off the floating Nexus. Raiden looked and stared in fear as he saw Onaga looking slightly beaten up and quite angry. The Dragon King then flew towards Raiden and grabbed the Thunder God around the throat while growling, "Have you forgotten that I can fly?" Then Onaga tossed Raiden up in the air, grabbed him by the ankles, twirled around 5 times and hurled the Thunder God in the same direction in which he attacked Scorpion. Onaga then looked at the white portal in which Goku escaped by and the Kamidogu intact in the same position in which he left them as before he was blown away by SSJ Goku, Scorpion and Raiden. Onaga then spread his enormous wings, flew towards the Kamidogu, swiped them up with his giant claws and dove through the portal after Goku before the white gateway closed up. Chapter 4. The tides have turned. After a series of twists and turns from being thrown around through the portal, Goku soon was thrown back into his original dimension in Otherworld. Goku was hovering right above the battlefield and looking around at all the skeletons attacking civilians' combatants of the tournament and destroying everything in the entire stadium. Soon a skeleton soldier turned its head towards Goku and hissed a gasp, then it raised its right arm while holding a giant axe and bellowed a low groan to all the other soldiers. The thousands and thousands of other skeleton soldiers then stopped whatever they were doing and turned their heads towards the skeleton that was groaning, and then they too saw Goku and slowly began to limp or walk towards the Scion with their weapons out in front of themselves. Goku constantly looked all around himself at all the skeleton soldiers slowly approaching him, trying to concentrate at who to attack. Finally he blasted a series of skeletons in front of himself with a yellow energy ray, destroying a fair few. Goku, trying not to forget the other skeletons around him, quickly turned around and blasted another set of skeletons with another energy ray. Soon Goku looked all around himself only to find every single skeleton on the battlefield surrounding him and clustering all around him while groaning and carrying their weapons. Finally, Goku dashed in all sorts of directions, attack any skeleton soldier he could find by either punching them in the face, destroying their skulls, kicking them in the center of the chest of their armor thus causing them to fall apart, or by simply blasting them and destroying them entirely. Suddenly, a skeleton soldier jumped into the air while Goku was destroying a series of the other skeletons and pounced onto his back while trying to maul onto his neck. Goku tried hard to shake the skeleton off his back until finally he plunged himself into the empty roll of concrete steps, causing the skeleton to fall apart. Goku then resumed destroying the rest of the skeleton soldiers until he was then attacked again, this time by 2 more skeleton soldiers. This time one of them held him down on his stomach while another one was ready to drop a giant axe onto Goku's neck. Quickly Goku then flew forward while the skeleton was continuing to hold onto his back. Then he turned around, grabbed the skeleton by the leg and hurled him at the other skeleton with the giant axe. Then as Goku was about to dash back to the battlefield, 3 more skeletons jumped onto his back, causing the Scion to crash down to the battlefield. With Goku down, soon all the other skeletons began to pile up on top of him, preventing him to get up from the ground. However, they didn't know what a Scion was truly capable of. Soon Goku then released energy from his entire body and hurled every single skeleton off of himself, the same exact was he threw off Caterpie. Goku then got up from being piled on by the skeletons, only to see that the ones he blew off were slowly getting back to their feet, while even more of them were limping faster towards him with giant weapons. Goku, still exhausted from the battle against Onaga, looked all around himself one more time at all the skeletons again and said to himself, I hope this works this time. At that moment, Goku then yelled out into the open air as he went into his Super Saiyan form and all at once let loose an enormous explosion of energy that rocked the area and destroyed the entire skeleton fleet. SSJ Goku, even more tired from the release of energy, fell onto his back, panting simultaneously while groaning, I can't take much more of this. If I keep going at this rate, I'll never win the tournament. Suddenly a low, loud bellow was heard all around the entire area, which thundered, you won't even last long against me. SSJ Goku squinted his eyes to see what made the thundering bellow, and yet all he could see was a giant, blurry, black figure which appeared to have 2 flat limbs flapping simultaneously, growing bigger and bigger by the second. Suddenly, SSJ Goku was impacted in the stomach by the giant black figure, soon revealed to be Onaga, the Dragon King. SSJ Goku, into both pain and shock, gasped, that's impossible. How'd you get into my world? Onaga grinned sadistically and growled, thanks to that foolish Thunder God wasting his time on your friend. I was able to get through the gateway into your world. No, gasped SSJ Goku as he held his hurt stomach, what did you do to Scorpion? Nothing compared to what I'm gonna do to you, roared Onaga. The Dragon King then roared out into the open area around both SSJ Goku and himself, and down descended the 6 Kamidogu. "No!" yelled SSJ Goku as he dashed towards Onaga.
Suddenly both Onaga's eyes and the pearl in the center of his amulet then began to glow a greenish yellow, as he then dug his claws into the ground and scooped out a series of skeletons which completely shielded him from SSJ Goku's attack. SSJ Goku constantly kept attacking the row of skeletons guarding the Dragon King, but no matter how many times he kept attacking, Onaga would dig his claw into the ground and scoop up even more skeletons than before. Finally, as the many skeletons he created gathered around SSJ Goku to hold him down from attacking, Onaga then chanted a mystic ritual that merged the 6 Kamidogo together into one tool of unimaginable power. Onaga, not merely impressed with merging the realms just yet, then merged the 1 Kamidogo with himself, going under a dramatic transformation. After a shockwave from the merging of the Dragon King and the 1 Kamidogo of power echoed throughout the entire battlefield. Onaga's dark green scaly skin turned blood red, his lizard-like eyes then began to glow a complete yellow-green, the blue pearl in his chest began to glow bright yellow, and his size was increased by half of his original being. SSJ Goku watched in fear as he saw the transformation of the Dragon King before his very own eyes. Onaga then looked down on SSJ Goku, who was still bound to the skeletons, and roared, "Now you must face the true power of the Dragon King." Onaga then roared at Goku again, but this time as he roared he showed off his new powers by having his skeleton minions disintegrate at the power of his roar. Onaga then spread his now enormous wings, dashed towards SSJ Goku, grabbed him by the head and hurled him into a series of meteors in the outer space environment of the Otherworld Tournament Battle Nexus. SSJ Goku caught his balance while in mid-air and thought to himself, "Wait a minute. This doesn't seem right. Onaga wasn't this powerful when Scorpion and I were fighting him earlier. Either it's me or those 6 Kamidogo things Scorpion was talking about earlier." Onaga then roared out into the air and suddenly vanished into thin air as SSJ Goku was busy thinking about how powerful Onaga had become. Onaga then reappeared back to back with SSJ Goku with his arms crossed while growling in his opinion of what SSJ Goku said to himself, "It's you." SSJ Goku turned around to find Onaga with his back turned to him. Believing it was his opportunity to attack, SSJ Goku then grabbed at Onaga's tail and tried to hurl him into the stadium. However, Onaga then wrapped his tail around SSJ Goku's wrists, twirled around once and threw SSJ Goku into the stadium stands. SSJ Goku, trying hard to fight his wounds, tried to release himself from the concrete stands, but before he could escape, Onaga dashed forward and rammed his head into Goku's ribs, pushing both of them through the entire floating battle nexus. Onaga then grabbed SSJ Goku by the head with his 2 massive claws, kneed SSJ Goku in the face twice and threw SSJ Goku into another floating meteor. Onaga then flew towards SSJ Goku and punched the Super Saiyan in the stomach before hurling him into the center of the battlefield. SSJ Goku, mercilessly beaten, stared onto the Dragon King, who was roaring with anticipation for SSJ Goku to get up and fight. Dizzily, the Super Saiyan got back to his feet, feeling all the pain and punishment given by Onaga, dashed towards the Dragon King and punched him square across the jaw. Onaga stayed in the position, his head contracted to the punch for a few seconds before luminously bringing his head back into position while frowning with a spot of blood trickling down his chin from his mouth. SSJ Goku looked up and saw that he actually had done some damage to the Dragon King, hopefully bringing some light to this battle. Suddenly, Onaga merely smiled as he licked the blood of his chin and quickly grabbed SSJ Goku by the head with his giant right claw before growling, "Do you know who I am?" Onaga began to increase pressure on SSJ Goku's head, causing the Super Saiyan to screech in pain while he finished by roaring, "I'm the Dragon King." Onaga then held the arm which was holding SSJ Goku back, dashed down to the center of the battlefield and smashed SSJ Goku's body into the concrete battlefield. Onaga then returned to the air, but then his mouth began to slowly glow a red color, and then Onaga emitted a giant ray of fire from his mouth which engulfed the entire stadium in flames. The Dragon King looked down at the stadium to find SSJ Goku now a battered, burnt and bloody mess. Onaga then roared in rage before he flew down at extreme speed and stomped on SSJ Goku's stomach, causing the Super Saiyan to contract violently from the kick. Onaga then reached behind himself and grabbed SSJ Goku by the legs. The Dragon King then flew towards the concrete stands of the stadium and, using SSJ Goku like a lifeless doll, smashed his body against the stands. The Dragon King, continuing to use SSJ Goku body as a weapon, kept holding onto his legs with one claw and continued to swing SSJ Goku body into more inanimate objects. Onaga then noticed the gateway out of the floating nexus and into Otherworld, and so the Dragon King flew out of the astrological room and burst through the doorway into the Otherworld.
The survivors of the Dragon King's undefeatable army soon noticed the overpowering Dragon King using SSJ Goku's body as a ragdoll and fled with fear as Onaga resumed using SSJ Goku as a weapon, swinging at either some of the survivors or other objects in the area. Finally, Onaga swung SSJ Goku around like a lasso and hurled SSJ Goku into an archway of the mansion that held the tournament. SSJ Goku was flying through meteors and the entire space structure of the room before crashing into the center of the battlefield inside of the battle nexus, feeling like his soul was completely destroyed. Finally, Onaga dashed into the hole in which SSJ Goku was thrown through and back into the battle nexus to retrieve SSJ Goku to continue the punishment. Onaga then slowly walked towards the soulless SSJ Goku, grabbed him by the hair and hoisted him up into the air with his giant claw. Then with his other claw slashed at the flesh of SSJ Goku's chest in the exact same spot in which Caterpie cut open his chest, causing SSJ Goku to scream in even more pain. The Dragon King then threw SSJ Goku into the air by the hair, flew up towards the Super Saiyan and grabbed his chest with his left claw before growling, "You're mine." Onaga's arm then began to glow green, causing SSJ Goku to helplessly scream out to nowhere. Suddenly, small green lights began to pass into Onaga's arm as he continued to hold SSJ Goku with his giant claw. Onaga was draining SSJ Goku's soul out of his body in order to gain even more power. SSJ Goku's body began to turn clear due to the fact that his soul was his body when he was killed by Cell. Finally, SSJ Goku began to feel lightheaded as could no longer fight Onaga's grip, and then he passed out, resuming his normal state, no longer able to fight Onaga, who continued to suck the soul out of Goku. Meanwhile, back on the nexus of the Elder Gods, Scorpion, who was rescued by Raiden at the last minute, watched on in horror as Goku was slowly succumbing to Onaga's attack through flashing images of the fight through a cloud created by Raiden. "What's going on?" asked Scorpion as he watched Onaga. Raiden, who was also watching, soon saw Goku's body turning clear and informed Scorpion Onaga's sucking out his soul. If that happens, not only will Onaga become unstoppable but unbeatable as well in Mortal Kombat. There must be something we can do to help, Scorpion said as he watched. "There is one thing we can try," Raiden said as he watched, then he turned his back to the fight and shot out a bolt of lightning into air and held it in that position. Scorpion turned around to find Raiden holding his bolt of lightning in position until he saw a very unusual object hurtling towards him, which included a body of water shaped in the form of a woman, a body of fire in the shape of a man, a tornado that appeared to be slithering across the sky alongside the bodies of fire and water, and a gigantic meteor. These were the other Elder Gods that resided throughout the Nexus. Scorpion couldn't recognize the other Elder Gods, but the tornado almost seemed familiar to him, or at least its significance. First, the body of water landed slowly to its feet to reveal a woman wearing blue sorceress clothing. Next, the body of fire quickly transformed into a fireball and flew towards the ground to reveal an elderly man with white facial hair and male sorcerer clothing with red as its color. Then, the tornado then landed next to the male Elder God and slowly shrunk into nothing, reveal another man who slightly resembled Raiden, only with long, white braided hair and wearing a maroon ninja outfit slightly similar to Scorpion. Finally, the meteor impacted next to the Elder God that emerged from the tornado, but as the smoke cleared from its collision course, the rock then split apart to reveal yet another male who wore an article of clothing resembling that to then first male Elder God, only brown, and each one of the Elder Gods all stared at Raiden looking stern. Raiden looked at the four Elder Gods and began, "Welcome, my fellow Elder Gods. I have called you here to alert you all of the Dragon King's presence." "We are all well aware of Onaga's presence, Raiden," said the Earth God in a gruff voice. "Go on, Raiden," asked the Wind God. "While scavenging the realms, I had found a warrior whom I believe could defeat Onaga. His name is Goku and he is currently battling the Dragon King as we speak," continued Raiden. "What does this have to do with us?" asked the Fire God. "Moments ago," replied Raiden, "Onaga has merged the Kamidogu into the ultimate weapon, but he has also merged himself with the ultimate tool and is currently using that energy to destroy Goku. That is why I have summoned you all here to assist me in helping Goku." "Impossible," claimed the Earth God. "Once someone merges with the 6 legendary tools, they can have power equally with ours. Besides," stated the Water Goddess, "if we contributed our elemental energy to the mortal, his body would be destroyed, but if he did survive, how would we know if he won't go mad with power?" Raiden looked at the Water Goddess and said, "First of all, this mortal is an undead warrior like Scorpion, and secondly, he has powers that have matched Onaga's power before.
Raiden then turned his attention to the Earth God and said, if we created those tools we can certainly outdo them with the energy we used to create them. The Wind God then stood next to Raiden and said, he's right, if we created this weapon we can certainly outdo its capacity with the energy we used to create it.
Thanks Fujin, I knew I could trust you, responded Raiden.
The Fire God and Water Goddess both looked at each other for a while and said we're in. The Earth God looked at the other Elder Gods joining Raiden. With no choice he walked towards the group and said to Raiden, I hope you know what you're doing, Thunder God. Trust me, replied Raiden. Soon all the Elder Gods turned towards the cloud with the images of Onaga draining the soul out of Goku. Scorpion then noticed a rather familiar-looking creature hiding in the debris while Onaga was draining Goku's life force, and without warning he jumped into the portal leading into the Nether Realm and disappeared through the portal. Scorpion, wait, called out Raiden, but the Ninja Spectre disappeared through the portal. Raiden then shook his head in refusal, knowing about the current situation at hand and hoping that Scorpion didn't do anything foolish. Raiden then returned his attention back to the other Elder Gods and opened a portal towards Goku's back and said, ready? Focus your elemental energy into the Orange Man. He's Goku. Soon, all the Elder Gods were holding their arms out and their hands out open while Raiden yelled 1, 2, 3. In a matter of seconds, each Elder God had formed a thick, white beam of energy and shot it through Raiden's portal into Otherworld. While the others hoped for a successful defeat of the Dragon King, Raiden was only hoping that Goku survives this final fight. Chapter 5, Victory. In Otherworld, Goku was now nothing more than a clear image of himself as his soul was continuously being drained from the Dragon King. His energy had dropped to zero and he had no longer any control of himself whatsoever. Onaga then growled, "'Tis but a matter of moments will your soul become mine." Goku said nothing, he had lost even the energy to communicate. Onaga grinned sadistically and growled, "You should have spared yourself this torment and surrendered to me back at the Nexus instead of enduring this pain." Suddenly, Onaga then noticed a bright, white, oval-shaped form of energy spinning behind Goku. What that?" asked the Dragon King in confusion. Suddenly, the oval-shaped energy shot out a bright, white glowing beam of energy right into Goku's back. Onaga, stunned at the bright light of energy, was temporarily blinded, so he covered his eyes and waited for the energy to stop glowing so bright, unaware of the fact that he was still holding Goku. Goku then felt a huge rush of energy fill his body and soon found himself no longer in Otherworld but inside the images of Onaga's path of destruction shown to him by Scorpion when they were in the Nether Realm. Goku watched in horror and disbelief as he saw many people flew before Onaga as he began to lay waste to the area by igniting villages and cities into flames. The images then switched to Onaga plowing through warriors of different kinds with little ease by simple crushing their skulls or by blasting them to bits with his fire breath. Finally, Goku was put into a state of uncontrolled anger as he saw Onaga killing people of another village, which included elderly people, peasants, and even little children. Soon, Goku could feel his body and soul slowly restoring back into its solid form. Back on the outside, the beam of energy slowly began to lose light, but the beam itself stood intact into Goku's body. Onaga then lowered his claw out of his face and noticed he still was holding onto Goku, but this time he heard Goku moaning, groaning, and shuddering as he then muttered the word "you." Suddenly, Onaga felt something burning on the palm of the claw that was drawing out Goku's soul. He then looked down and noticed that his forearm was now glowing golden and small yellow light began to pass into Goku's body. Ugh. What's going on? Bellowed Onaga as he continued to feel the searing pain now growing into his hand. The Dragon King then grabbed at his arm with his other claw and tried to pull his arm off of Goku, who was still groaning. However, the claw that was grabbing Goku seemed to be stuck no matter how hard he pulled. Goku finally muttered, "You monster!" Onaga looked at Goku in disbelief as he struggled to pry his claw off of Goku. Soon the white beam of energy that was stuck in Goku's back began to shrink in size. The golden energy that was consuming Onaga's hand finally covered his entire arm, causing the Dragon King to roar in pain as he continued to struggle trying to release his own claw from Goku's chest. Suddenly, Goku transformed back into a Super Saiyan as he then muttered, "All those people you harmed, all those people you used, all those people you murdered. I attack who I want when I want," roared Onaga. Finally, as the beam that was continuing to revive Goku finally disappeared into his back, SSJ Goku looked up at Onaga and bellowed, "You will pay for what you've done."
SSJ Goku then yelled out into the air as he then felt the biggest rush of anger and energy he had ever felt in his existence before being consumed by golden energy. The arm Onaga used to drain Goku's soul then began to peel out with the same golden energy before his arm then burst open with blood as Onaga finally released his claw from his own grip. Onaga no longer felt any control of his left arm, all he could feel was horrible agonizing pain. The Dragon King then looked in the direction where SSJ Goku once was only to find yellow smoke. Soon the smoke slowly disappeared to show SSJ Goku now gone under a radical transformation. The energy that surrounded him was no longer yellow but now gold. His hair had become more spiked out more than what it had looked like before, and it too was also golden, and as he hovered there lightning scattered all over his body. SSJ Goku had become a Super Saiyan 2. Onaga was in awe as he stared at the new reformed Goku as he asked in pain, "What's happened to you? Why you look different?" "Onaga, now you must face the power of a level beyond Super Saiyan," murmured SSJ2 Goku. "Beyond?" What had groaned Onaga? SSJ2 Goku powered up, flew towards Onaga and then took his turn attacked the Dragon King by rapidly punching the Dragon King across the face, continuously causing Onaga to be thrown around violently by the punches. SSJ2 Goku then kicked Onaga across the cheek with his shin, causing the Dragon King to spin around into another kick across the cheek, this time by SSJ2 Goku's other leg, and finally finishing the attack with a double sledgehammer fist to the head, causing the Dragon King to crash into the center of the battlefield. As Onaga staggered to get to his feet with only one claw, he then looked up at SSJ2 Goku staring down at him while saying, "This time it's you who's weak, Onaga." The Super Saiyan 2 then kicked the Dragon King in the chest and sent him hurtling into the wall surrounding the battlefield. Onaga soon released himself from the wall, roared in frustration and dashed towards SSJ2 Goku with his right claw out. However, SSJ2 Goku stepped out of the way at the right minute, grabbed Onaga by the tail and hurled him into the air. SSJ2 Goku then shot into the air and rapidly started punching all over Onaga's chest, causing the Dragon King to cough, gasp and grunt in pain while being thrown around by the punches. SSJ2 Goku then, looking to finish the assault for now, then threw himself back and kicked Onaga in the jaw with backflip kick in homage to Scorpion, sending Onaga smashing through the center of the ceiling of the astrological room. Soon, all the survivors of Onaga's attack noticed the Dragon King bursting through the roof of the mansion, and then also noticed SSJ2 Goku bursting through the roof also and resuming the assault of rapid punching and kicking. SSJ2 Goku then remembered what Onaga did to him when he was more powerful than him. SSJ2 Goku dashed towards Onaga and kicked the Dragon King square in the chest and sent the Dragon King hurtling into a series of trees away from the spectators. Onaga, enraged at the beating he was receiving from someone he once had power over, roared in angry frustration, lifted off the ground with merely one flap from his giant wings and landed to his feet, only to come face to face with SSJ2 Goku. "You," thundered Onaga, "how could a mere mortal like you be capable of this much power? I am the Dragon King. I am invincible. I am the one being." SSJ2 Goku replied, "How, Onaga? Because you never faced a Super Saiyan before." SSJ2 Goku then sucker punched Onaga across the face, sending the Dragon King flipping in mid-air before SSJ2 Goku then grabbed his tail again, flew up into the air and hurled him back down towards the roof of the mansion again. Onaga, trying to recover from SSJ2 Goku's attack, flapped his wings a few times before he could come in contact with the roof. However, as he turned around while flying in mid-air, SSJ2 Goku made a fist out of his hand which then began to crackle with electricity, and he then dashed towards the Dragon King and punched him in the stomach with an electric jolt, possibly Raiden's elemental energy in effect, afterwards punishing the Dragon King even further. SSJ2 Goku then powered up and dashed towards Onaga, who crashed into the battlefield inside the Nexus. As Onaga was still lying on the ground, he then noticed SSJ2 Goku charging towards him, and so he flapped his wings once, returned to his feet, and with as much energy inside of his formed an enormous beam of fire directed towards SSJ2 Goku. SSJ2 Goku, realizing who and what revived him, used the combined energy of the Elder God of Fire and encased himself in a full-body shield of fire, piercing right through Onaga's ray of fire. Onaga stood in fear as he saw the Super Saiyan 2 charging right through one of his most effective attacks. That moment, however, was shortly lived as SSJ2 Goku charged at him and laid down a series of punches and kicks, this time all over his body. Finally, SSJ2 Goku ceased the attacks by kicking Onaga in the stomach, sending the Dragon King into the stand where the Grand Kai used to sit. Onaga, returning to his feet, then asked in intense grieving pain, "Who are you?" SSJ2 Goku then appeared in front of him and yelled, "I am the hope of the realms. The voice of all the innocent lives you destroyed. I am Goku and I am a Super Saiyan." SSJ2 Goku, remembering not to waste much time preaching on who he was, then kicked Onaga in the chin and sent the Dragon King flying into the air. SSJ2 Goku then followed after Onaga and nailed the Dragon King in the back with a double fist sledgehammer, sending the Dragon King crashing into the concrete seats of the Nexus. Then used his super speed, SSJ2 Goku reappeared behind Onaga, who was staggering to get to his feet, only to turn around and be kicked in the face by the Super Saiyan 2 and sent back into, by now, the nearly destroyed battlefield. Now with Onaga lying on his back beaten mercilessly, SSJ2 Goku then held him up high and tossed him into the air. Then using the powers of the Elder Gods that was given to him, SSJ2 Goku then morphed his entire body into a giant white ball of energy and dashed towards Onaga. This time as SSJ2 Goku attacked, he flew past Onaga, who was still soaring into the air, and passed around him, once punching him across the back of the head. Then he turned around and kicked him, this time in the gut. Again he flew back around and this time kicked Onaga in the back of the head, and once again turned back around and punching Onaga in the face. This attack continued at a very fast velocity until both combatants resembled a nuclear symbol. Until SSJ2 Goku finally ended the attack by flying to the top of the entire astrological room, kicking off the top of the ceiling and then bolting back down and headbutting the Dragon King in the stomach, sending the Dragon King crashing this time into the center of the battlefield, causing the entire battlefield itself to change itself from a square structure into a giant crater. SSJ2 Goku, exhausted from this attack, panted vigorously while saying to himself in his mind, this doesn't make sense. That attack should have destroyed him, and yet he's still alive. None of my other attacks could even deplete any of his energy. SSJ2 Goku then noticed that the yellow pearl on Onaga's chest was still glowing yellow from when he absorbed the one Kamidogu, and so he thought to himself, wait a minute. That thing on his chest must be that one Kamidogu he absorbed earlier. I must get it out. SSJ2 Goku then used his instant transmission ability just as Onaga once again staggered to his feet due to the amount of pain he was in, only to come face to face with the Super Saiyan 2, who then yelled, "Now I know how to beat you." SSJ2 Goku then thrusted his fist into the yellow pearl in Onaga's chest, causing an explosion to send SSJ2 Goku into a wall and Onaga onto his back. SSJ2 Goku got to feet to find Onaga lying still on his back with blood gushing from a giant hole in his chest. Believing to be victorious, SSJ2 Goku panted, "It's over." Suddenly, Onaga's chest then shot out a bright blue light, and after a blinding flash the Dragon King was back on his feet holding the one merged Kamidogu in his right claw while his chest was still bleeding continuously. "What?" gasped SSJ2 Goku as he stared at Onaga. "You," thundered Onaga, "I will not let a mere mortal soul beat me. If I can't destroy you in combat, then I'll destroy the one thing that holds this universe together." Onaga then flew up into the air and held the one merged Kamidogu up high as it began to crackle and shoot bolts of energy out in every direction. SSJ2 Goku looked all around himself and noticed that the entire area around both him and Onaga was beginning to either crumble, blur, or wrinkle up like something wet and moist. "Ano," thought SSJ2 Goku, "because I'm too powerful for him, Onaga must be trying to destroy reality itself." In a desperate attempt to savage the two of them, SSJ2 Goku flew up towards Onaga and pleaded, "Don't do this, Onaga. If you let that thing destroy reality, then everyone will die, including you." "That's right, Goku," Onaga replied sadistically, "and I'm taking you in this pathetic universe with me." "No, Onaga," roared SSJ2 Goku as he continued to plead with the Dragon King. Onaga then roared, "I've heard enough. Now is the time for your destruction and my reign." Onaga then kicked SSJ2 Goku in the face with a kick across the cheek, sending the Super Saiyan 2 into the top ledge of the arena's auditorium. SSJ2 Goku recovered quickly from the attack and stared on as the one merged Kamidogu then began to levitate in midair above the Dragon King as the area around them appeared to shrink into the Kamidogu. "Stop, Onaga," yelled SSJ2 Goku. Onaga ignored the order and proceeded destroying Goku's universe. Suddenly, Raiden appeared in front of SSJ2 Goku and informed him, "Goku, I've been watching what's going on, so listen to me. There is only one way to stop Onaga from destroying your world when at this state. Just tell me now so we can stop him before it's too late," yelled SSJ2 Goku. "Remember when you saw those images of Onaga earlier on?" asked Raiden. "When you saw those, the other Elder Gods and I were using our elemental energy to revive you and show you just how destructive Onaga was in Earthrealm. If you can tap into the elemental energy we supplied you with one of your attacks, then you can destroy Onaga. Alright, replied SSJ2 Goku, but now how do we get that Kamidogu thing away from him?
Raiden stared at the one Kamidogu and said, leave that to me, just start charging. As Raiden disappeared into a flash of lightning before SSJ2 Goku's eyes, the Super Saiyan 2 then put his two hands out before himself briefly and then held them back in a Kamehameha wave position.
Onaga then looked down on Goku and roared, now the end has come. Suddenly, Raiden out of absolutely nowhere appeared behind Onaga as he continued to bear his attention to SSJ2 Goku and stole the one Kamidogu by grabbing out of Onaga's sight before disappearing into a bolt of lightning. SSJ2 Goku as he charged up his signature move, the Kamehameha wave. He soon saw 5 colored orbs appeared in front of him, red, blue, white, brown, light blue. Realizing this had to be the elemental energy of the Elder Gods that revived him, pouring out of his body and into the small blue orb of light that was the Kamehameha. Each colored orb had its Japanese symbol representing its element. SSJ2 Goku then yelled the words out to Onaga, Kaa. Neee. Haa. Neee. Onaga, baffled and enraged over the disappearance of the one Kamidogu, then noticed SSJ2 Goku charging up his Kamehameha wave and stood in fear. Suddenly, SSJ2 Goku, using his instant transmission, disappeared off the ledge of the arena's auditorium and appeared right in front of the Dragon King, still with his Kamehameha wave in his hands. As Onaga looked down in shock, SSJ2 Goku then yelled, you won't get away with this, Haa. Nu, roared the Dragon King. Finally, after a devastating Super Kamehameha wave of the elements, SSJ2 Goku defeated the Dragon King with one blow. SSJ2 Goku, tired, hurt and exhausted, fell to the battlefield, transforming back into his normal form while panting, It's over. It's finally over. Thanks guys. Thanks. For everything. Suddenly, the ground next to Goku soon began to shift around as if someone or something was trying to emerge from the ground. Huh? Asked Goku as he stared at the ground.
Finally, out of the shifting ground emerged not Raiden, nor Onaga, but the 10-armed combatant that Goku had fought before this entire incident occurred.
Caterpie.
Onachu, groaned Goku as he stared at Caterpie, who was laughing insanely as he stared at the injured Saiyan. Caterpie looked down on Goku and said, you may have beaten my master, but now you're weak.
The way you look, I can simply make you give up in a matter of seconds.
Caterpie then grabbed Goku's hands with his bottom set of arms and hoisted Goku into his 10-armed grasp before yelling, it's tickle time. Suddenly, Goku heard an exploding squishing noise right next to himself, and then Caterpie began to scream out into the air in immense pain. Goku then looked next to himself while still in Caterpie's grasp and noticed 2 Shuriken tips sticking out of Caterpie's top chest next to his head. Then, 2 more Shuriken tips lunged out of the section underneath the first set of spikes and appeared underneath Goku's arms. Caterpie then released Goku, causing him to fall flat on his face. Goku then rolled over and saw 2 more Shuriken tips puncture another section underneath the previous set of Shuriken tips in Caterpie's body, thus creating a total of 8 spikes sticking out from Caterpie's front body. Goku then leaned over a bit and saw 8 cords coming up from a hole of fire that were attached to the same places in the back of the tips that were sticking out of Caterpie's body. Suddenly, inside the fiery hole, a familiar voice then thundered to Caterpie, get over here.
At that moment, Caterpie fell face first into the concrete battlefield and was immediately sucked into the fiery hole before it vanished into the ground and out of sight. Goku, as he witnessed this, then looked outwards and said, that's Scorpion. Then something touched Goku's shoulder. He turned around quickly to find King Kai standing behind him and Grand Kai standing behind King Kai. King Kai then asked Goku, are you okay? I don't.
No, responded Goku as he got up, still in pain from his battle against Onaga. I don't know if I can still fight. I'll tell you what, interjected the Grand Kai, I'll hold the tournament off until you and all those who were attacked by those skeletons guys recover, and when this place is all fixed. I got this great deal at this fancy place where we can finish the rest of the matches of the first round. Yeah, replied Goku as he looked around the entire Nexus to find the devastation from the battle. It looks like I did a number to this place. Those were some pretty cool moves out there, so we gotta get you better for the tournament. Then the Grand Kai floated back up to the doorway out of the Nexus while King Kai helped Goku back to his feet. At that moment Goku then wondered, wait a minute. What happened to that one guy in Scorpion? Oh well, Goku said to himself as he and King Kai teleported out of the Nexus, exhausted but finally victorious and with both universes safe.